Good afternoon and welcome back to Auction for the Soul. This week's Parashat is Perashat Vayesheb. And like all the Parashot we've been reading together and learning together and sharing ideas, this one is a masterpiece in understanding how misconceptions, misunderstandings have the power of tearing apart a family. And if those small misconceptions have the ability of tearing apart a family, what do misconceptions do to societies? What do they do to governments? What do they do to countries? What do they do for the world? Parashat Vayesheb begins with this idea that Vayeshev Yaakov Be'ez Megrei Aviv. He sits down. He's just tired. He wants a rest. He's had a long life of fighting, of arguing, of challenging, of having to defend himself, of having to explain his own right to existence. He has a brother who's an overachiever. He has parents that are super demanding, and finally he's in a position where he's able to go ahead and build his own family. We know that he's married to Leah, to Rachel, Bilhah, and Zilpah. He has his two wives and his two concubines, and with all of them, their children, their offspring, make up the 12 tribes. Now, what's interesting is that we see this the art of war take place so much in the book of Genesis, and the question is why? If God wanted to give us a book about being moral human beings, about being greater people, about spirituality, about developing the self, about growing the soul, why tell these stories? And for me, it's simple. It's because God wants us to understand that lo b'shamayim hi, that the art of spirituality, the art of Judaism, what it truly wants at its core is it wants to elevate the character of humanity. And therefore, we're going to show you the stories about people, individuals who were flawed, people who made mistakes, individuals who unfortunately made such drastic mistakes that led to the greatest kind of evil, which is hate, killing, murder. We see them beginning with Adam and Eve and their two children, Cain and Abel, Cain and Hevel, and Cain kills Hevel. Why? Jealousy. We see later on the children of Noah, right? He has three sons. Ham gets punished. He gets punished for castrating his father. Ham is punished. Ham's his real, inside idea as to what motivated him, his motivation at the end was the fact that he didn't want to share the space, any more space in the world. He didn't want to have any more heirs to the planet. He just wanted him and his brothers. Didn't want his father to procreate. Jealousy. Later on, see Abraham has two children, Ishmael and Yitzchak. There's a little bit of jealousy there also. Ishmael does not like Yitzchak, sibling rivalry. Yitzchak has two children, okay? He has Yaakov and Esav. We know how that went. Didn't go very well. And then in this week's Parsha, finally, after last week where we have the dream of Yaakov seeing his 11 stones that he puts around his head for protection, right? Become one at the end. It becomes one stone. And he has this dream that he would be a little different, that his children, that his descendants would be able to kind of break this cycle of jealousy, of evil, of hatred, and finally get themselves to a place where they can, become united in one, which is what we really want. Everyone on this, every human being, ultimately, should want to feel a sense of connection to every other human being. We're humans, and therefore we should feel responsible for one another. And that's ultimately what we want. We want peace on the planet. We want prosperity for the planet. We want health for the planet. We want people to be in good standings. We don't want suffering and pain. But at the core, there's work that each of us have to do. Each of our natures are set against the other. Our natures very much determine, who we are, how we respond, our circumstance, the context, if you will. That's a very dangerous word right now because of the presidents at MIT and Harvard and Penn using it in a way to kind of create indifference when it comes to talking about anti-Semitism on campus. But here, it's a little different, right? You have Yaakov, he has his children, and now he has a son named Yosef. And he sees that Yosef was different than his other kids. And the pasuk goes out its way. V'Yisrael ahav et Yosef mikol banav. Yisrael, right? That's the term that is used for Jacob when he's on a higher spiritual plane. He loves his son Joseph, mikol banav. There's favoritism here. There's nepotism going on here. Ki ben zukunimhu lo. V'aslo asalo ketonet pasim. He went out of his way to give him a special gift that made him very easily, distinguished from his other brothers. V'yir'u achav ki oto ahav avihim. And it wasn't enough that he loved him, but the brothers knew that the father loved him. Mikol achav. V'senu oto. And they hated Yosef. V'lo yachlu dibaro l'shalom. And they could not say shalom to him. It's interesting when we say, Shabbat Shalom, or you say Shalom Aleichem, right? You say Alechem Shalom, the response. I say Shalom Aleichem, you say back to me, Alechem Shalom. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem means hello, right? Peace unto you. And you say Alechem Shalom. But in both cases, it's always referred to in the plural. It should be Shalom Alecha to an individual, and Shalom Alecha Shalom. But it's always stated in the plural. And the reason why it's stated in the plural is to remind us that peace has to be something that includes two people, not individuals. It's always got to be in the plural. I want peace for everybody. And here the brothers cannot say, they cannot even greet him. Lo yachlu dibaro l'shalom. They cannot even greet him with peace, with hello. They would not look at him. And he's hated for this. Vayachalom Yosef chalom. He's dreaming. He doesn't even realize that his brothers hate him. He's up in the clouds. He has no idea what's going on over here. He's this naive little boy who has his father's love and attention. Now, the Torah wants us to read this story because it doesn't want us to repeat these mistakes. It's showing us how easy it is for us to make the mistake in choosing one child that you connect to a little bit more, and then not being fully cognizant of the fact that your little gestures of extra little bit of love have the power of driving away your other kids. There's nothing more painful than a parent watching the children fight. Nothing more painful than parents watching children who do not respect or get along with another, who do not care for the other. This parasha is about what Judaism wants us to realize, that we need to make peace with each other. This peace, this harmony starts at home, between husband and wife. It starts then between siblings. It starts with parents. It starts with community. It starts on so many different levels. And what happens? Here, poor Yaakov, what does he want? He just wants to chill. V'Yaakov bikesh leishav b'shalva. He just wants to live in harmony. And Hashem says no. And how does he had it? What's the pain? The pain is the suffering of his children. His children are fighting with one another. For 22 years, Yaakov does not have prophecy. He's completely blocked off from God because of the depression of the loss of Joseph. The brothers take him and they throw him into a pit. They try to murder him. And instead, they're taken away and they're given him the opportunity of a new life as a slave in Egypt. Let God determine. Let nature determine what your fate's going to be. You're going to have dreams about you ruling over us. Let's see about your dreams now. What's so wrong about one person being grateful or feeling a sense of gratitude for another person's dreams? There's nothing wrong with it. Dream away. But when I don't create space for you in my heart, then anything that you want is bad. So much of this conflict in America, what Jews and what Jews have. Oh, they're the oppressors, and everyone else is the oppressed. And therefore, if you're oppressed, you can do whatever you want. Yosef didn't feel that way over here. Yosef was oppressed by his brothers. He didn't feel he could go ahead and do any kind of retribution. He saw this as an opportunity to learn from their mistakes and then grow from them. He's in jail for 22 years. It says he did not once go sour. The whole entire time he was besimcha, he was happy because he had bitachon, he had trust. He trusted there's a plan. So often we get into a place where we're fighting with everyone around us because we're so worried about things getting misaligned. And that fear comes from us not letting go and giving the people around them the opportunity just to be themselves. Yosef was not given the opportunity to dream a dream. And they try to steal that dream, not only from Yosef, but from his father. Because that hatred is so pervasive, it's so destructive. They cannot see the humanity in Yosef. And what ends up happening? What ends up happening is that this dream that Yaakov has, who's the dreamer, of seeing 12 boys standing around one another. Becoming one is shattered. You cannot have a Jewish people that is broken. You cannot have a future with a nation of people that do not respect each other's dreams. On October 6th, unfortunately, I truly, based on what I was reading and seeing unfold in Israel, we were like this tribe, the 12 brothers, broken, fractured. And when that happens, we're broken and fractured, God does not communicate with us. He's gone. He's out of the picture. It's only when we're united, when we're in a place of love, of happiness, of simcha, of togetherness, it's there that God brings down His Spirit with us. The idea of us becoming an Am Echad, a nation of one, is the only way that we could go ahead and bring Mashiach. The Messiah does not come into this world. There's no God resting His soul, His Spirit, on humanity without us uniting. That has to happen. That was what had to happen at Mount Sinai. The Jews had to become V'yichen Sham Ha'am, and the nation as singularly rested there. They were there Be'ish Echad B'lev Echad. That's what we need to get to right now. I don't care about who wins the war in Gaza. If we go ahead and we destroy all Hamas, and we come back to an Israel that is still fractured and broken, and we don't see ourselves as being one people, we're going to have to do it again and again and again. Because this hatred that Yosef had to fight with his brothers, right? Later on, and next week we're going to read that how Yosef sees the brother in Parashat Miketz, and he recognized the brothers, but the brothers did not recognize him. We're brothers, we're family. What responsibility do we feel with one another? And therefore, Yosef goes through this harrowing struggle of him trying to cling on to his identity as a result of his brothers exiling him. And we know how it ends. It ends with one of the most remarkable stories in the world. Yosef's humility, his love for humanity and his family, ultimately gave him the strength in the place of darkness, in a place where he was alone, in jail, in the dungeons of Egypt, to come out to be one of the greatest people in the world. It's a reminder to us, we're going through darkness right now, a lot of darkness in the world. What's the response? Not depression, not hate. Certainly the hate doesn't solve anything. I feel bad for the people running around screaming in hate. The way we change the world is by looking inward and becoming people that are more besimcha, more happy, more love. The more we could embrace each other, the more we could become closer as a people, the sooner, God willing, soon, we're going to see the world transform itself. A world where wolf and lamb walk side by side, where we beat the swords and the prune shares, where we could go ahead and actually visualize and see with our own eyes the prophecies of our great prophets of peace and harmony coming into the world. We should all witness it soon, inshallah, very, very soon. This Perashat Vayesheb is about how when we sit back and we become complacent and we're not standing on top of the people that we love around us, we're not building those connections, we could see the whole entire thing fall apart. May we be blessed with the ability of recognizing that every moment of time is a moment to be the simcha of happiness, to create love between people, to do whatever we can to draw each other as a group of people together so we can go ahead and usher in this new era of peace and brotherly love soon. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom and a happy, happy Hanukkah. Thank you so much for joining us.